Yo, greetings and good vibes, everybody. You're tuning into Point of View, brought to you by the Leon Block Independent Media. And joined with me today, I have a slew of guests. I've got, y'all already are familiar with Chaz Neal, host of The Urban Conservative. We got a guest Ghost and a new guest this evening as well. We'll introduce in a second. But tonight, we want to talk about for gun violence because there's a number of things that took place in the city of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we know that a bunch of people have been looking for more information concerning this matter, the situation, these slew of deaths, and wanting more of an explanation behind it. We are very careful with how we handle transparency, accountability, and integrity. We stand on those foundations, and we want to make sure that any news that we bring you, we're providing in the kind of context where we're educating you as well, and we're providing and offering resources and solutions to also provide you the tools that you need to take control of our own lives and our own narratives together. So I think that that's really important. Given the recent murders throughout Lancaster County and swirling rumors, we want to take the opportunity to refocus to a larger conversation about gun violence, gangs, and police accountability. So we wanted to hold this space to talk about that broader bit of information. So on Monday, uh, the 28th, at about 1 a.m., an individual walked into the spot known as Prince of Subs. And for anyone in the Lancaster area or Lancaster City out here in Pennsylvania, know that Prince of Subs is that hood spot. That's where you go get your fried chicken and your deuces and your mac and cheese. You know what I mean? Like the place, it's a good spot, and everyone knows that spot. You know what I'm saying? Like I go there, and it's not too far from me. Um, I think this will make people think twice about going and patronizing uh, this great business who's been around since I think like the 70s in operation, which is unfortunate because again they're like a pillar of the community.
Do you really believe that though? Because I sit there and I think about P&B Rock and so you know what I'm saying. That's
Right, right.
like I even think about areas where I'm from in North Minneapolis, and there's gunfire all the time. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't deter people. I
You
think
got a point there.
it's more about situational awareness.
Now that's true. Now and that brings me to another thing. The mainstream media locally has been all over this. It's gun violence. It's in a predominantly black and brown area. It's in a predominantly impoverished area,
So then it's
and
not gun violence, it's black on black crime then.
No, but
well,
see, it's not black on black crime. I'm not gonna
That
go there
that's
because
that's what it is. That's what they're gonna say it is. He just
but
said it, the media.
that's what they're gonna call it what it is. But there's a deeper issue with that. See, a lot
right,
of it is greediness, is people not satisfied with what they have. It's people fighting over things that we don't even own.
That's
right,
right.
Property violence.
Right.
There
right,
you go.
right.
You know what I'm
Property.
saying? Like
Also,
Yes.
right,
we have our youth out here fighting a gang war over territory that they will never own. That it's their street name. They're fighting for street names over their slave masters.
mm,
You know
mm,
what I'm saying? So let's really let's call it what it is. It's not black on black violence, because I'm not going to call it that, because
right.
it's, they like to call us
It's different.
product of our environment.
Yeah. And part of that is right, Chaz, because we have to go back to, I mean, I know it's gun violence, but our music, this is the music they made mainstream. Go get a
Mm.
gun, go rob somebody, go shoot, come to our neighborhoods, do this. And that's what
Speaking.
our children are living now. They're living that. That is a product of our environment,
Right.
not the way that they say it.
No, and see, we made it as a rap was. It was crazy because me and my wife were riding around today, doing our job and listening to different music from like the '90s when we were in high school. And I was playing various songs, and I was asking her, I was like, in high school, did y'all have the people wearing condoms in their glasses, you know, uh,
Right,
wearing their clothes backwards? That's why I asked earlier today, did people see black as a race or a culture thing?
Mm,
Because
mm.
I see it black as more as a culture than as a race. Because
Agreed.
if you look
Right.
at it, everything that they hate us for is
They
our
do.
culture. It's
Yes.
about black culture.
And they
Yes.
take it and run with it. They take our culture.
Thank you.
They mimic
Even
it.
with
They don't take it, they mimic it.
they
What's
mimic
that
it.
phrase they say? They want our rhythm, but not our blues.
Right.
Ooh, preach,
I want to redirect
preach.
real quick. So I want to talk about this case really quick. Everyone's asking about what happened, and I don't want to get too much into details. Dude got popped in the head. His family's upset,
Right.
rightfully so. And the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of shit going on, and that goes on in Lancaster that people don't understand. That a lot of white liberal people don't understand. They just want to talk about this violence. They don't understand the deep complexities of what's going on and the ways that they actually contribute to this. Now, everyone should be focused on and outraged and upset about is the fact that the Lancaster County Coroner's Office has yet to let the family of Lou Sanchez identify his body, even though this incident occurred on Monday. What's today? It's Saturday.
Wow.
It's like 5 days later, they have not been able to identify the body, but the whole media is talking about that this is Lou. Okay, we clearly know it's Lou because his car was parked at Prince of Suds. He has not been back to his car. No one's seen him. We know it's Lou, but why can't the family be able to go identify the body? What's going on at the coroner's office? Apparently, they have a lack of staffing. That's not an excuse. That's no excuse.
I was gonna say that's no excuse for the public to not be aware and informed, let alone the family.
Facts. And I think those are the kind of things that people need to be enraged about, concerned about, and talking about here, not about the complexities of gun violence. Well, yeah, we are here to talk about the complexity of gun violence, but we're talking about things that need to be done. We're talking about how we feel about it. We're talking about what we should be doing about it. There's a difference between just gossiping about what's going on in your hood and actually trying to talk about it in order to come up with solutions. And that's what we're here for today.
Right. I want to cut to the chase of the core issue
Okay, brother?
of gun violence, because at the end of the day, I see, people what people don't understand is legislative session is coming back up
Mm.
for the next 2 years. We're going to be seeing it January 3rd. People are going to be getting their little bills ready. They probably already are.
Oh, yeah.
But what I know in Minnesota, we have $12 billion in our reserves. I know that we can give Ukraine billions of dollars. I know that we can give other countries billions of dollars. But what I don't know is, can we take care of Americans?
Mm.
Can we take care of the homeless people? Can we take
Right.
care of the babies being slaughtered every day? And just even in the last 24 hours, we've had 2 mass shootings with kids involved.
Mm.
Murder suicides, it's still a mass shooting because there's over 3 people, but you have kids involved. And it's like, when are we going to wake up as people? Because, what was that? That looked like Kanye.
That's Scoop from Philly.
That's from Philly. Okay.
$325 million to gun violence prevention. Why is it so lonely out here on Philly streets?
Mm,
Damn.
Talk
yeah.
about it.
To speak of gun violence, like, what does gun violence look like? What is preventative maintenance in gun violence? I mean, we holler, this is what we want, this is what we want to do.
Right.
How do we as the people, apply that? Like, we want this, but what is it that we want? I mean, I know everybody has a different opinion or have faced different things in life and how gun violence has affected them, directly or indirectly. But what is gun violence? What is the solution?
Right.
When we come to the table, what is it that we talk about when we say we want solution for gun violence?
And you know what? That brings up a good point, because, like you said, everyone has different perspectives on this, but majority of people don't actually apply their perspectives to get things done. They just complain. So I think the first call of action is like, okay, well, where's everyone's perspectives lies on this so that we can move together, especially people within red line communities. I brought this up before. The Inquirer out of Philly newspaper did a study. I think it was like last summer, one of the hottest summers in the city of gun violence, right? And they went straight to the center of North Philly and started asking people, going around and asking people their feelings on like how they feel, what goes on, how come nothing gets done. People don't talk to police. People don't trust police. That has a big part to play in it. So the root issue is the funding that goes to police that doesn't go to reinvesting in our communities. Why are we not having more of a conversation about that? Well, people in redline communities don't get the opportunity to show up to meetings. They don't get the opportunity to be involved in conversations that have to do with properties that they don't even fucking own.
Yeah.
You know, you bring up a very good point, you know, because I'm sitting here looking at this Prevention Institute, and they are part of Moms Demand, the whole politic group or whatever.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
You know, they have 14 things about gun violence, and for me, and I sent it to you too, John Till, but sensible gun laws. What more sensible do we need to be about them? You know, because they already restrict. It's not the legal gun owners that we need to restrict more. It's the people that aren't allowed to have these weapons, that aren't using them for protection, but are using them to rob, steal, and
I think
kill.
it goes to state of mind then, because technically we're all legally supposed to be able to arm and defend ourselves.
Right.
So now we shouldn't be questioning if you can have a gun. No, you can have a gun, but where's your state of mind at? That's what should be it on those applications, not how many people you saw, or if you come from a bad neighborhood. And I picked up one in Bedford County the other day. You know, so I think it's that. And also with that comes the fact of a lot of these crimes are being committed, and we're being told that they're happening differently.
Right.
We're being told that these are crimes in this neighborhood and this happened like that. No, it didn't happen like that.
There's always more to the story.
There's more, yeah, but it's going to always fill out or end up being said this way.
Right. The portrayal of black and brown people in America is always going to feed and fund the prison industrial complex.
Say that.
Always.
And I'm heavy on this gun thing they're saying, man, because I read a lot of stuff about that in gun violence, and I have no other answer. I read books and I read books and I read books, and I haven't got the answer on the fact that this country is built off war.
Right.
Talk about
y'all. They're built off war, taking other people's shit, and then they create a war at home. So it keeps us distracted off what they're doing there. That's gun violence.
Do you think the politicians should have had basically dealt with mental health or see what they could have had done better to end gun violence? Because I see my best friend get killed in front of my building.
Yeah, because again, the questions. I know some people licensed to carry, and it's different in different states, and that's a thing too. You need different requirements in different states. Why? If you can't carry here, you shouldn't be able to carry there.
Anywhere.
And not because you've been caught with a bag of weed or something like that, but because your mental state ain't capable of doing those type of things.
Talk about
it. They're asking the wrong fucking questions.
Right. They always asking the wrong questions.
Well, they ask the wrong questions because gun violence is a part of America, and America needs this.
It's a part of the culture, just like racism is.
Yes, right. They need this.
Right.
We need to have conversations more like this with our people, because a lot of them are brainwashed. They don't know the fact that this is designed to go like this for us. And until we speak their language, we gonna stay this way, y'all.
So you know what? Looking at gun violence and how it's looked at stereotypically in America, and people feed off of the drama that comes with it. They sensationalize these mass shootings because, let's face it, this is a mass shooting too. black on black crime that happens in the hood. It's mass shootings too. But they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to phrase it that way. They frame it in a different way to keep us from realizing that this happens to all of us. And that
Yeah,
young
first thing they do is label it black on black crime. Put a label on it. Black on black crime. Now we identify any crime that goes on in these neighborhoods with these colored people, black on black crime.
right.
That's the start right there. That's the root. Now
Yes.
we've got that established in our head that anytime something happens, it's black on black crime. Bullshit me.
Exactly. It's the
They,
perception.
you don't think it's real? They trying to take us out. They can come from their neighborhood, come and kill us, and because it's in the black neighborhood, it's black on black crime, gun violence.
The
He
same
didn't win
kind
home
of-
this. Man, look.
the same kind of obsession that people have when it comes to these mass shootings that go on. The one that just happened at Club Q with all the LGBTQ plus people.
Yeah.
Why is it that LGBTQ plus people have all this awareness and rallying around those people, but there isn't any kind of rallying around black people and black and brown people when it comes to redlining poor communities and the gun violence that happens to our people? Where's the outrage there? The same level of outrage.
Yeah.
Do you think it
True.
might be because of the fact of how our areas, being a black woman or even a black man like you guys, to where we don't have enough things for our children to do, so they turn into violence instead?
I
Yeah.
believe it. I
That's a
believe
big
that.
one. You take away resources and you take away leisure. You don't give kids anything to do. What are they going to do?
They do give them something to do, Jontel. They give them YouTube. They give them rap videos.
Right.
They act like they're taking them away from something, but they're really pushing them somewhere else towards this direction. We'll take the parks away from them because it's recreational works and youth centers. No, then they're creating their own stuff. These kids are developing on their own. Let's take that away from them. Give them rap videos. Let's give them this YouTube. Let's give them free this. So now they resort to that stuff because that's what they're being taught. That's what the mind is being taught. They're training them for that. Everything they put out here for that shit, everything that's going on, mass shootings, these kids see that shit in videos. They make video games for that.
Facts.
It's even like with the 10-year-old killing his mom over the video game. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that
That
he
happened in
literally-
Milwaukee. Yeah,
right.
crazy.
And I even find it more than beyond crazy because of the simple fact of I honestly thought of my teenage son. And the reason why I thought of him is because I've had to discipline my own children over technology.
You better not cut that internet off.
Thank you. Right. You get what I'm saying? So that is the whole problem for me is where do our kids get it? Because I know that I'm not teaching my children to be like that. I know that a lot of parents don't. But the thing of it is, we're not teaching them, but do we allow them to be taught it?
There you go.
You get what I'm saying? Because we got to start taking responsibilities as adults.
There you go.
Because we allow our kids. I remember growing up, I wasn't allowed to watch certain things on TV. I wasn't allowed to hear certain things when when adults were speaking. You left the room.
Right.
We don't do that no more. We speak everything in front of the kids. And I think about music. Look at how music has progressed. I sit here. We were watching TV last night, the '70s show. Look at how sexual they were back then. It wasn't really vocally, but look at TV now compared to shows that we watched when we were in high school.
Check this. I don't know if people, and a little off topic, but I don't know if there's this. People label it a conspiracy theory, but there is supposedly this meeting that took place in '89 with a bunch of high-ranking record executives who held a meeting to basically hijack the world of hip-hop and turn it into what we see it and know it as today. With if you're a rapper, you basically can only talk about certain things. If you want to be a major label rapper and get multi-million-dollar record deals, you can only talk about certain things. There's tons of rappers out there that are very good, conscious rappers, but guess what? They're probably indie label, started their own stuff, and control their own careers. The ones that are on these major labels they're put in place to indoctrinate the masses, particularly these Gen Zers.
Say that.
Don't get it twisted though. These Gen Zers, a lot of them ain't have these shits, but you also have a big sector of them, particularly in our communities, who are being indoctrinated into ignorance.
Talk.
Come on now.
Talk.
Come on now. Let's talk about it because we know what it is. But how do we fix any of this when we're sitting here? We don't have anything. We're not doing anything about it.
We don't have the people to implement what we're saying. We got corners keeping families' bodies away from them. What type? That's cruel and unusual.
Right.
How do you do what happened to make y'all think that y'all can keep somebody's family, loved one, deceased one away from them? We need to get inside these people that are deciding these things, these people that are making these decisions that it's best for this, it's best for that.
And it's people that don't even live in the community anymore.
They're not part of the community.
About it.
No unity.
They're not part of the community. You know what's crazy is everybody, you know, I hear the success stories, right? I hear that Black excellence.
Right.
What about Black equally? Because just because one person made it out doesn't mean that everybody had them same opportunities.
Talk, Chad. Talk to him, Chad.
And that's what frustrates me because we sit there and we'll talk about a LeBron James. I know about 100 LeBron James sitting in North Minneapolis right now, but because they didn't have those same opportunities to get out.
They weren't the picked one. They didn't get picked.
Right. Yep.
You know, a man just ran here for 5th Congressional District for U.S. Senate, Royce White, former NBA player. And honestly, I didn't agree with him a lot of his ideology. But what I did agree with is that we need to change the globalists that are sitting there right now at the table because they're not.
It's about the wealth inequality for me because I think it's like whites have $100,000 on average per family, and then it comes to blacks who are only 13% of the population. It's like 10,000 on average.
But that's because we've never gotten anything. We've never had that financial stability. We became literally, it was how I think about the Emancipation Proclamation is how we get out of prison. They literally gave us our papers and said, here you go. Here's a bus ticket. Find your way.
Find your way. After 30 years of false incarceration.
Right. Is there any way different?
Yeah. You're right, Chad.
I see Meg joined the show. Welcome to the chat, Meg. Welcome to the conversation. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you? Thank you for having me, guys.
Meg.
This is such a big topic. Like it goes without speaking on, you know, that we have to end gun violence. You know, within Lancaster, you know, County, just this week, we've encountered, you know, three deaths that I can count off the top of my head.
Wow.
And the only way that we're going to change it, I heard Chino asking about the solution. The only solution that I can think of is that we must change the practices, the standards, and the protocols of the people that sit in positions of power.
That's right. That's right.
And the coroners too, because that's ridiculous that, you know, anybody has had to wait 7 days almost to identify a family member that was ambushed as they were leaving somewhere.
Let's talk about Dante Perez Jones real quick.
Right. Exactly. At a park.
Right. Lynched at a park where the police station sits directly in front of it. Security cameras directly where he was murdered, but apparently they can't find the footage, and they wouldn't let the mother of the family identify the body. I don't know when they let him do it, but this was this past summer.
They had to lawyer up before they were able to identify his body. And I don't want to hear that it's small town, they're understaffed, underpaid. Like they make a lot of money. That money holds a lot of responsibility.
How do we talk about gun violence and don't talk about the badge having gun violence? Nobody. What do we call that?
Right.
What about their gun violence? And what about their gun violence to people of color?
Right.
What about the allowance of mass murderers and people with AR-15s to get off roofs and walk calmly in handcuffs and nicely? You want to talk about gun violence? Let's talk about gun violence.
Right. 100%. To add that any mental, you know, if you have a mental health disorder, you are prone more to be shot and killed by police than any other, person in America, especially Black people.
Talk about it.
Right.
It's over 35% just this year alone. Statistics show, and I really feel, in my opinion, that it's a lot higher than that. That's the ones that are reporting.
Say that.
There's no data on police officer involved shootings. We have to keep our own. I have a list going. So yes, that's my point of view.
If I fall and trip outside and you next to me, I'm sure you're not going to write it down every day to tell people I did it.
Right.
No, they don't want to hold themselves. They don't want to hold themselves accountable for that. Let's talk.
Right.
Let's talk about something else. Let's find something else for them to talk about when this goes on.
Right.
It's crazy the dwindling effect that it has. On I heard you say about the corner and how they should be held accountable too. Yeah, but somebody told him to do that too.
Exactly. Talk about it.
Somebody passed that on down to him too.
Mm-hmm. From the sheriff's department to the city police to the coroner to the DA, all of them.
It's crazy because they're allowing police officers in the morgues now.
They're allowing in Pennsylvania. They're allowing police officers that were involved in police officer involved shootings in the autopsy room while the autopsy is being performed.
For what? What would be the purpose of them being there?
Right, because then when things happen, like we've talked about the fact that body parts come missing up that would identify how a person was bludgeoned to death with blunt force trauma to the head, that shows that police killed them. So the police come in and say, who knows what they say or do or how they threaten these coroners, but there's no one in there to speak for these coroners or protect. First of all, that's a conflict of interest. These police should not be in the room.
Say that.
Period.
And remember, a coroner is an elected official. This is a position that we put these people into.
And their duty.
Exactly. And their job is to do an autopsy correctly. Their job is not to hide body parts, hide brains, spleens, kidneys. Like, that is not part of their job description, from my understanding.
And you know what it all stems from? Gun violence. Someone's got killed. Someone's lost a family member. And now they have to go through more corruption inside of just grieving.
Right. And that's the last thing they need to worry about is more violence upon the families or whatever the case may be. They need to worry about mourning and the trauma they just experienced.
Yeah, right. Wow. I'm still, I don't know if we talked about it enough yet, man, but the gun violence, when they say black on black crime, you don't say police on black people crime. You don't talk about their gun violence, their mental state. A lot of these cops have been on the job 20, 30 years. They're ready to go. Wives left them. They're on their third divorce. Their mental state now with a 45 Glock on their side. And they see a black man running for his life. He fear you.
Right.
Yeah, you probably ain't did nothing to him personally, but from what he knows, you're going to kill him. And because you have so much going on, your mental state ain't correct, you're going to kill him.
Facts.
And there was actually a police officer that had a podcast that I listened to out of Lancaster County. I forget the name of it, but he said that they take, the one call. Shout out to Rue tonight. He's like super cranky. Sorry, guys. What's up, Rue? Okay, now he wants to be quiet. They said Steve Birkenheiser, which was with the police department in 2020, said on this live podcast, yes, I agree, he was transferred, out of county, so not seen, not heard type thing. But they said that they take the calls, like from previous calls, they, take it out on the next call. Openly, they said that in a podcast. So that makes you wonder too, like, what if, they seen a guy beat up a woman or vice versa, they have a next call, they shoot and kill somebody because they're so pissed off.
Yeah. That's gun violence, right?
Right.
100%.
That's gun violence. And it didn't happen because they were black on black in the neighborhood and poverty stricken. It happened because he decided that they're mad about the last call.
Exactly.
Their mental state is off.
So and are these police officers offered counseling? They need counseling. The things that they're seeing, we all need counseling. The things that we've endured, seen, tests that have turned into testimonies, like, how's their mental health? Are they getting evaluated?
No, they're getting passed on. They're getting told that it's okay, we'll take care of you. The code of silence, back to blue.
Qualified immunity. That's the that's the whole crazy thing for me is I sit there and there's a case out of, well, not a case, a story, a situation, an injustice out of Red Wing, Minnesota, where a 24-year-old was in a mental health crisis and unarmed during the whole situation, unarmed. But because he was bigger than the officer, I still don't feel like how is that a need to, you know, um, to shoot somebody that and I sit there and I think about it like I listened to the 911 audio multiple times and I just still can't get it out of my head of hearing Fernando in the background yelling help.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like for me it's like gun violence is regardless if it comes from the community, if it comes from our paid police officers who are supposed to serve and protect. It shouldn't be you should only use a gun to protect yourself, to protect your family. I see a lot of these things out here right now. That's why you don't see Virginia in the news anymore. That's why
I
you
feel
don't
like
see.
if you have to have a gun, you a punk in its own way. If you can't fight with your hands before you grab that gun, then you evidently scared and a punk. Why?
Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
I sure was finna say something.
Right,
Oh,
I was gonna say something.
whoa.
no, you a
We in
punk
America.
if you right. We in America, but if you have to always use a gun to sit up here to defend yourself, then to me you a punk.
Right.
I seen so many people when I was growing up getting killed, but I see more people, all in honesty, 100% use their fist before they would a gun.
See,
What happened to
I
that?
come from the streets of Chicago, so I had to beg to differ. You can't show up to no gunfight with no knife.
Right.
People are not
Agreed.
fighting with their hands. This is
Right.
America. People will shoot you. People
Right.
can't take ass whoopings. People
Right.
shoot.
They get pissed off. They get their emotions
Yeah.
involved.
I
And then we're all
understand you
screwed.
saying, man, why everybody got to shoot, but that goes back to what we said. What's put in our head to think that these videos, every time somebody say something to you, grab your Glock. I got a 30 and do this and do it. That's what it's all about. You can't say box no more. You can't Mike Tyson nobody.
Right? You can't buy nobody's ear off.
As much as we want it to be that way because of how we grew up, the reality is that's not the world today anymore. And majority of the people have guns. Majority of the people of the sectors of America and the population that are getting guns in fast are blacks, black liberals.
I ain't gonna
and
shit you. It's an investment.
It is.
It's an
And then
investment.
with
It's
this
an
open
American
carry,
investment.
But listen, it's about being proactive at this point. People that
It-
don't want guns are the biggest population that are getting guns now.
Yup.
Eh,
That's right.
it is so easy to get a gun these days than anything else, it seems like. It's
Yep.
so easy. Like, I never seen so many people saying that they can get a gun as of tomorrow for $400.
Real
Right.
quick. Real quick.
Easier to get a gun than it is a green apple.
Okay, Jacob Frey. I'm over here rolling my eyes like Keith Ellison did during that press conference.
So, I mean, if we're going to speak about gun violence, you have to speak about self-defense.
Right.
Because a lot of times they label it as gun violence, when majority of times it's self-defense. See, a lot of people are put in positions where they have to defend themselves.
Now, see, I think differently of that, right? Because, and this is just my opinion. This is just my thoughts. I know how Chicago was. I know how Minneapolis is, Detroit, same thing, Midwest, right? I know that we live by a code. Growing up, I did. I know that code was instilled into me, that I know if you live by that gun, that you die by that gun.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people don't realize or what that entails is live by the gun, die by the gun. It's because when you see it, we're gonna watch in the next 18 months, we're gonna see a 10-year-old do life in prison for killing his mom over an ignorant, childish, because it is a child, behavior, but made a decision that adults make. And they're going to treat him like an adult when he doesn't have the brain capacity to even get past middle school yet.
But also, this kid is black, and Tamir Rice was
Right.
only 2 years older, and he was shot, and they treated him like a man.
Right. And had a
Well-
fake gun. Tamir Rice. I think about Jaheim McMillan, 15. I think about Terrell Mays, who was 3. I think about Anaya Allen, who was eating McDonald's in her mom's back seat. I think about Tanisha Edwards, who was doing homework and took a bullet in the head. I think about Trinity Smith, who was jumping on a trampoline. I think about LaDavion Garrett, who was just riding around with his dad. A lot of these
that
kids
makes
don't
me-
have choices.
When you get the naming names like that, it leads me to think at why these things are happening, or what situation led up to these things.
I know a lot of
What
it
led up
is
to this gun violence?
drug war, so-called gang war. What the politicians want to label it.
Well, because it's their thing. They put it here.
Right.
It's part of the $1 billion plan. It's money.
Organized crime.
If they organize
Thank
crime,
you.
if we take the killing off the streets, if they take the killing off the streets, take the guns off, then you know how many people lose jobs. What do we need a corner for? What do we need all these police for? What do we need all? There's no gun
Right.
violence. There's no robberies.
Right.
So then where did all these people go? What do we send all this money to? These hundreds of millions we put into security or police forces, and what do we do with that now? We have to accommodate that because we're definitely taking out of their taxes every year.
Right.
So I say that to be saying it's here. They put it here.
It's a
Oh,
setup.
definitely.
Yes, it's organized crime. They put it here like that. Now we as the people, again, we need to somehow break this fucking chain. This gun violence thing, man.
I hear somebody putting their clip in.
Come on, man. You don't need a gun because it's called a magazine, man. See, you're the reason. You hear what I'm saying?
That's okay. Thank you. You know what though? You are very right though, because
No, I'm just meddling, brother.
no, but you know what? You are correct though, because
Gun
we need
education,
to call it what it really is. We need to start calling it. It's not a clip. It's a magazine. We need to start calling the switches of what they really are. Because these are instruments that were made to protect.
Yep.
But now
Say that.
that are used to be taking advantage of other people. Because that's all you see is out here is people taking advantage with the guns. And that's why I say of where with the self-protection, if your first thought is to grab a gun in any situation, you don't need one. You don't need one.
Wisconsin has an open carry law.
Right.
Pennsylvania, I believe, has an open carry law. Why is it that the open carry law changes per state? You need to apply for an open carry law somewhere else, but in this state, as long as you have it holstered correctly, you can carry it.
Right.
But don't cross
Anybody
state
you don't need a
lines, 'cause then you're
license to buy
screwed.
a gun. All you need is an ID in the funds, a credit card, a check card in the same name. Anybody can go get a gun.
Right. That's the way it should be.
So are we preventing gun violence by making you get an FOIP card, or are we
No.
encouraging it more?
We're encouraging it more.
Yeah.
I don't care what nobody says. It's $1 billion business. If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense.
That's right. Right.
You
And then in their business now, when people don't handle their business right, they penalize them. Now you didn't
Right.
handle that gun right. You're in
right.
trouble now. You gave it to him.
Right. I look at, and there's so many prime examples that I even think about that, right? I think about Pablo Escobar. I think about Freeway Ricky Ross. People that were doing things for their country, but doing it the way that their country allowed them to do it, to profit, because if it didn't make dollars, it didn't make sense. Now, when I talk about Pablo, and I bring these up for reasons because in Colombia, Pablo's dope money, cocaine money was funding wars. The same way with Freeway Ricky Ross funding wars over in Nicaragua. And that's what people don't realize because Freeway Ricky Ross didn't have no planes. He ain't had no boats. Neither did Meech. Neither did some of the biggest drug lords that we've seen, kingpins, whatever we want to call them. Some of them might call them idols. Other people might call them criminals. Me, myself, prefer to call them idols. Now, if you can't tell me that if they didn't know a better way of how to turn that illegal money into legal money, that they would, or even to pay taxes off their dope money. Because I'll tell you right now, I'd have kept on selling crack cocaine if I could have paid my taxes to Uncle Sam every month. You can't tell me there's not a drug dealer out there right now that sells cocaine that is out there to take care of his family, that he would not want to pay taxes. And I'm talking about somebody that likes to get somebody high and not kill him. I'm talking about somebody that makes sure that their clientele is taken care of, not somebody that's out here just randomly getting off pills because it's the end thing to do. I'm talking about somebody that's a businessman, the same way with weed, to a dispensary.
Right.
Why can't we make that illegal? Because people are gonna get high. Big Pharma does it every day.
Right.
Big Pharma does it every day. Ritalin.
What is that state? I can't remember offhand. Maybe you guys can help me. It was
Washington.
a state. It was another
Oregon.
state. I think it was Portland.
Yeah,
They had made basically every single drug legal now.
right. Most of them, up to a certain degree.
And look how levels have gone down of like overdoses and people
Overdoses and all of
needing
that.
help and yeah.
Well,
There's
you know,
countries out there too.
that kind of ties into quote unquote gun violence.
It does.
Again, in Wisconsin, they won't legalize marijuana because it's an open carry state. They think that marijuana alters the mind. So why have it that you can carry a firearm and we allow you to take a drug that alters the mind?
Wow.
Y'all get what I'm saying here? So we're gonna
I
say
thought Colorado's
so we're
open
gonna
carry.
legalize this, huh?
Isn't Colorado and California open carry states?
Colorado is an open carry state. And I mean, it goes back again to what I said. How is the law changing with firearms per state?
Yeah, I had
If
to
you
think
gave
about
me,
that.
if I have the right to carry, how you gonna change that once I go over here? I'm not crossing territories.
Right, because you're still in the United States of America.
Come on now.
You're just in another state.
But it's
That's
legal
crazy.
to smoke this over here and legal to do that, but you can't do this. I don't know, man. I question a lot.
Wow, yeah, you made me think about some things because if we are under a land that is supposed to be governed under one law,
yeah,
then why is it that if, like right now, I don't know how many people are on here tonight, but I think there's like 4 or 5 of us, but we are all from different states, and each of us, our states have different laws when it comes to different laws. Our robberies are called different. Even the statutes to even, let's say, a first-degree murder or first-degree drug sales, just because it's one way in Minnesota doesn't mean that it's the same way in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Because I know, isn't Wisconsin a zero-tolerance state too?
Yes, it is.
Right. Where they charge felony for anything.
Yeah, they'll get you. They'll book you. That's a big prison state, and one of their biggest profits is off gun violence. They love guns. They got gun stores on every corner next to liquor stores and churches.
Right.
You used to be able to go to Walmart and get them there.
Right.
A lot, man. Like it's crazy that it's supposed to be a problem, but we're putting it out here and letting people get them with nothing. But it's a problem, and we're not seeing who's getting them. We are seeing them. We're seeing their ID and their credit card.
Right.
We're not seeing their mental state.
Right.
So these people are allowed to walk around here in a fucked up state of mind, and until they kill somebody, we say, "Oh, Johnny had problems." Yeah, he did. He just off 500 people from the top of the fucking building.
Right.
With a modified AR-15, and he just walks away. He gets to serve his life in jail.
On a mental health unit,
Yeah.
eating. What is that?
Black man, don't you get involved in nothing like that. Don't them even make you think you did something like that. You done if you make it.
Right. Because we definitely ain't gonna get like Dylan Roof. We ain't gonna go to Burger King, get it our way.
Oh man, they not worried about you shooting. The only thing they worried about is the nigga with a gun. That's what they hear. That's what they see. They ain't worried about your mental state if you even have a gun. We heard reasonable doubt.
They're gonna plant one.
And we'll talk about if you had one later and what you was doing with it, if you supposed to have it, black man. Right. Oh, you had a license. Damn, we sorry.
Philando Castile.
See? We sorry. Oops.
Even though we thought it was a gun, even though it was a Subway sandwich.
Hold on, bro. Who died and made you the king to be able to decide who lives and who don't? Because they gave you a gun. Now we go back to gun and mental state. You get these young punks straight out the force for 6 weeks a gun and they chests all poked out. They working out. And they 26, 25 years old. They were raised in an era that the black man sells drugs. They get out of their damn academy and they send them right to the hood. That young man has no idea what's going on in that neighborhood. Only thing he knows is what he saw on TV. First time he see a black man run, he think the black man got a gun. No, that black man run, he got a child support warrant.
All he knows is he's going to war.
Huh?
All he knows is he's going to war.
Yeah.
Right.
He see a black man running. We run. Black man could be running from the police because the police gonna lock him up for a child support warrant. He see a black man running with a gun. First thing. He ain't got no gun. He running from a child support warrant. Oh, he didn't even have. He dead now. The mental state of people is what I'm getting at. The mental state of the people that handles these guns. That's gun violence. I don't know, y'all. I got a thing for, how they gun laws, how they allow people to, how they allow the law to I can't get the word for it. But
loopholes.
Yeah, we'll say loopholes for things. You got me, Chaz, all the way.
Because that's what happened in Colorado. That the Club Q shooter literally should have been flagged on the red flag laws because of his mental health, because of previous criminal, even though he didn't have charges convicted, there was situations with his mental health, with bomb making, all of that he should have not been able to have the guns that he had that day.
Wow.
But because he's white, he right.
Huh.
Yep.
In that
sent
situation,
a link on all the states to you guys on what states are carrying. So might want to take a look in the inboxes and see, because it's deep. It's a lot more states than what we probably even know of.
Right. No, there is a lot.
See, but then you got states like Wisconsin where they're open. If you get their license, you can only carry it in 13 other states. What type of shit is that? So I need to check my gun in when I cross into California.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? Right. I have my gun for protection, and I'm thousands of miles away. So I get to California because my license don't carry on in this same US of A in this state. I got to check it in. I can't protect myself now. The loopholes, man.
Tons of that's the crazy part of it is of like it's why is it the fact that because so-called felony I can't protect myself, but yet I know police officers that have worse crimes than me, even though they haven't been charged or convicted or even accused. I'll say, let's say accused. It just doesn't. It goes on dead ears. But yet they're out in our communities, and yet these are men that go home, beat their wives. These are men that go home, drink and drive, get in the bar fights, get in their little white supremacy groups, and go out there and beat up trans people on the weekends while they're counter protesting, or they'll go run in the January 6th. And
You know, go ahead, Chaz. I'm listening. I'm sorry.
no, you're good. It frustrates me because I see us getting gunned down, and yet I'm screaming for my people to educate themselves and to prepare for war, but yet
Right.
all I see in the streets is them preparing for a dance contest.
Talk
Wow.
about it.
Wow.
Talk about it.
Wow.
Those time to celebrate. It's time to educate.
Yeah. And I see gun violence in America on the screen.
Right.
You can go to a rifle show and buy any gun you want to. Anybody can you can sell ghost guns in a rifle show. You can go in they talking about doing something about gun violence, and they're not stepping to the core of why we're having gun violence.
Right.
Talk about it.
Right.
Anybody can walk into a rifle show. You don't need an ID. You can say, yeah, I'm not a who's questioning, who's doing the due diligence?
Uncle Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by Uncle Sam is I'm talking about George Washington. I'm talking about the man on the $20 bill. I'm talking about the man on the 50. I'm talking about the man on the $100 bill, because that's what matters. Money talks, bullshit walks.
But Chaz, you made a valid point that why shouldn't you be able to protect yourself? Because you got caught with a bag of weed and they gave you a felony, now you can't protect yourself? In a world of violence, a world built of violence. So take my right away from me to protect myself, so you can be the king, you're in charge.
Right.
You take that away from somebody, you take their power away, the power to protect yourself.
That's how it's always been. I even look at most of why we even have gun laws. We have to go back into the 60s. And if people really want to know why there's gun laws for especially black and browns,
right,
look back to the Black Panthers. Look back to Ronald Reagan's scary ass.
Yep.
So let's really talk about it. They have never wanted us to sit there, because they think if any time that we get the upper hand, they think that we're going to come over and just take over the world. We're going to make them slaves. No, we just want them to be seen, everybody equal. We want everybody to love one another. Doesn't mean that because we want to be seen equal, that we want better, that we want more than what you guys have. No, I just want to be treated equally. I want my kids to be treated equally. I want public education to really mean something in every neighborhood in America. It doesn't matter if it's in Chicago. It doesn't matter if it's in Minneapolis. It doesn't matter if it's in Malibu. It doesn't matter if it's in Beverly Hills. It should all be the same education with the same opportunities, with the same advancements. That's it.
I feel like regardless of how much money we have, whether we poor, middle, rich, we all deserve to be treated as one. There should not be no separation just because the next man might be a celebrity. I don't do celebrities. I can care less. If you human, I'm going to treat you just like a human.
Right.
You know, it's sad that our animals get treated like golden trophies, and then we get treated like shit.
You know what they say? They can trace back horses, the whole genealogy of each kind of breed of horse, all the way back hundreds of years, but we can't trace back our ancestry.
Hell no.
I think value to what they think of us in general.
You know what? Because I'm glad you bring that up, because I want to say this as somebody who has done their lineage history along the way. I will tell you right now that if your family came over here as slaves, and somebody told you that they found the name of your family where they came in, they a motherfucking lie. Because I'm going to tell you right now of that. First of all, there was a language barrier.
Yep.
Second of all, they didn't know how to communicate. There wasn't nobody, there wasn't, during COVID, how everybody had a sign language thing up there. Oh yeah, or the thing was coming across the screen. No, there wasn't none of that. What they did have though was numbers. Just like how I have an OID number in Minnesota, just like everybody has a social security number. I know my ancestors, when they came to America, they were branded with a number, with a property number, with a serial number, to exactly what they were until they were named. It didn't change. Nothing changed. Even I know my last name Neil. I'm proud to be a Neil, but I know that's not my family's real last name.
Right.
That is the slave name, and I'm okay with that because I don't know I can only go back and I can find a number and a date. That's it. I don't find any names. I don't find who it was. If it was, you don't even find if it was a male or female half the time. You just find a number, and then you would hope that that's your family member. Because how do we really know? We look at when the immigration, that's probably a bad word to say for it, but when people come, immigrants,
Right.
when they come over here, and I have family members that, best friends that came from Somalia, but you know what their birth date is? 1/1.
Wow.
Because they don't know their dates. They don't have the same kind of record systems that we have here in America.
It reminds me of a couple of movies that I used to happen to watch, even in high school. But, I watch them a couple of now, but I don't like to watch certain movies that, because I don't think it tells the truth now. I think they edit it, like Roots. I think Roots is edited now because I don't remember it being exactly like how it was when I had to watch it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or I know it. No, I'm going to say I know that it's not the same from when I had to watch it when I was a kid. It's not
But what's
the same.
crazy that I could turn on Fox, I could turn it on Care 11 or NBC, and I could see two men kissing, or I could
Right.
see,
Right.
I could see some sexual scenes. I could see some drug use going on.
Right.
Or I could see somebody dressed up as a cat talking about woof woof. But that's okay.
It's what they deemed inappropriate.
Right.
And especially in a time like now, they wouldn't want us playing Roots in the school. Because now we can bag that up and saying, look, they was doing it then, they doing it now.
Right.
It's the same thing. Slavery all over. All the shit is all over it. They hate that they take the facts out of everything.
Critical race theory.
Just wipe it out like it existed. Well, you guys so mad. I ain't mad. I'm mad about nothing then. I'm mad that it's still going on now.
All right, y'all. It's time for us to get out of here and wrap this up. But this was an amazing conversation. And for viewers, everyone watching, this is only just the beginning. We're going to dig deep into, guns in general over the next several weeks at least. But we wanted to dig into gun violence and the conversation around it tonight to bring awareness, considering Lou, the person, Lou Sanchez, who was gunned down at a local establishment in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Our condolences go out to the family, and can we get justice as soon as possible, at least in the form of getting some answers and some transparency concerning the coroner's office. That's a start. That is a soft start. Now we've got to get out of here. Everyone, make sure that you meditate on your path, celebrate your being, liberate your spirit, and educate yourself. Y'all have a good one.
Peace, love.